I'm the Reverend Dr. Silvia Behrend. I'm an adjunct professor here at Gonzaga University in the Doctoral Leadership Studies program. Currently, the class I'll be talking about is the Leadership, Aesthetics, and Creativity class, which uses stone carving as a means of self-discovery, transformation, knowledge. The class is theoretically embedded in the understanding that we have to utilize not only our analytical skills and our academic and scholarly skills, but to put these thoughts, concepts, theories to work, to life, to bring them into our authentic self, so that we may be transformed, because that is one of the aspects of transformational leadership that we're looking at. Leadership that is able to adapt to change. And in order to be able to do that, you need to understand yourself in a very particular way that's different than just cognitively or analytically. The stone carving process is embedded in the field of creativity, in which what we're asked to do is both develop an understanding of what the ego and the self is, and then be able to enter into relationship, into dialogue with the form that is in the stone, that is informed by the form that is inside of us. And this form is also influenced by being in the field of creativity with other people working along the same lines. So not only are we creating in the stone, we're creating in the self. What I took away from the stone are layers of things that I took away from me. What you do to the stone, basically, the stone does to you. And so it's a process of mutually discovering both what is internal that gets externalized in the stone, and also what is internal in the stone that molds to the self. We, like the stone, are in a rough shape, that we have corners, that we've got things that look like they belong but don't really belong, and part of that is social culturalization, beliefs about ourselves, psychological constructs that look like they're part of the stone. But as you begin to chip away, as we say, carve away those layers, we find ourselves engaged in the process of self-discovery. So in the realm of leadership studies, when you as a person engage in that process and begin to understand how fields operate, for example, how when you enter a field that has all of these potential forms, the way that you are influences the way that other people then can grow, learn, behave, or on the other side can react, can respond in ways that are less than healthy. And so the goal of all of the courses that use the arts as transformational, that move through the non-rational, the metaphoric, the symbolic, the mythic, the archetypal, all of those courses and experiences really lead you to be able to hold on to your authentic self in all sorts of environments and understand what it is that happens when somebody responds. And you don't have to react to that because you begin to get what it is that's happening. So you learn to hold on to the deep, authentic self, even in situations in which you can do nothing and are powerless. Even if we're not talking to one another, that there's dialogue, that there's a narrative that is happening, there is a movement that happens that entrains everyone so that their focus is both into the individual stone and into the collective experience. Because it's not necessarily that everybody will hit at the same time so that you're in a rhythm that can take you into a trance, but that each individual chipping away, each sanding, each of those creates a community song. It creates the environment that takes you deeper into the sense of community. When you engage in a particular field such as creativity, such as stone carving or movement or teaching or leading, there are certain forms inherent in that field that are a priori. All of the potentials are there. So coming into a group where the field and the potential already is there for creating community, that the field itself works with the participants in a way that's not personal, that's not individual, that isn't even necessarily related to who the person is. Even in that field, there is dissonance. And that dissonance is part of moving towards greater and greater complexity. The dissonance in a particular stone, for example, that, and this happened to several students, that all it takes is you hit the chisel and half of your piece comes off. That dissonance, that perturbation of that field, that kind of break, really is the possibility for the next creative step. Like in everything with field and chaos theory, that's the opportunity where you can take it to a higher level of complexity, assimilate that, or that you regress, that you go to these psychological patterns of shame, despair. So both possibilities are there. And what happens in a group when a dissonance like that happens is that the group will tend to help you move towards higher complexity. The leadership field in and of itself is a stable field. And that the insights that you have about the self, the insight that you have about self and other relationship, the insight that you have about what sustains, supports, nurtures, feeds, funds existence is part of that field. The forms that it takes look different because they are different in different environments, but leadership in and of itself is not. It has a myriad forms, myriad potentials, but the essence of leadership is still the same. You are being asked to provide something for others that only you can provide. While it is both intensely personal, it's also non-personal. It's a function of leadership. And if it is well embodied, then the leader engenders the respect. The authority is given willingly to the leader because there is safety, there is trust, regardless of the environment. To understand what the mandates and the dictates are of the field of leadership, what it calls out from us from our essence. To be able to move into it. And then, for me, the way that I see things and process things, to be able to step away and melt back into the community so that you can then give to the next leader, at the next moment even, that same reciprocal, you're the leader, I'm the follower, I'm leading, you're following. So it becomes a dance. As I chip off layers of the stone, I chip off layers of me. Layers that were not useful, things that I thought I needed that I don't need. So the experience of taking off what doesn't belong is very much metaphorically for taking off roles, masks, defenses against the world that are no longer necessary, that don't serve us now where we are in our lives. I have never, this is my 6th class teaching stone, ever seen a student get the wrong stone. Everybody gets the stone they need for exactly the lesson that they need. Lesson in terms of what we've been talking about. The stone doesn't lie, ever. It's an incredible experience to watch and to see, oh my God, this just broke, I can't believe it. And I'm thinking, oh yes, it had to, because look what you were carrying. Look at, what do you just see here? What just happened? Not with the stone, but what's the story, the narrative?